This is the 12 Meridian Circuit meditation. The 12 meridians connect the organs to the extremities, the fingers and toes, and they form a continuous circuit in a specific order. So in this meditation we'll follow that order from the lung and all the way through to the liver. The meridians are symmetrical on both sides, so you can follow with me mentally on both sides of the body equally. The meridians are symmetrical even when the organs are asymmetrical. In the beginning, you may want to also trace physically the meridians, as I will do in this demonstration. Eventually, you would want to be able to do this mentally, closing your eyes and following along through the pathways of the body, using your concentration. Let's begin. Begin by focusing in the solar plexus. The energy splits and rises up through the lung organs. This is a yin energy. It emerges onto the surface of the body at the top of the chest, just inside the shoulders. Concentrate as we follow this pathway now. Down the outer biceps, the outer elbow, the front of the forearm to the base of the thumb, and down into the thumb. The energy now switches to yang energy in the index finger. This is the large intestine meridian. Follow this energy up the back of the hand, the back of the forearm to the outer elbow, up the arm across the front of the shoulder now, the throat, the jaw, up over the mouth to the opposite nostril. The energy stays yang now in the face, moving to the stomach meridian, which begins just below the pupil of the eye. The stomach meridians run down the face by the corners of the mouth, down the throat by the Adam's apple, and then out a little bit to a space behind the collarbone. Focus here, and then follow the meridian down the chest, through the nipples, down the rib cage, narrowing a little bit here along the sides of the navel to the corners of the pubic bone. This meridian then turns outward slightly, follows the quadriceps tendon, down the quadriceps to the outer knee, down the front of the shin, tibialis anterior, to the front top of the ankle, down the front of the foot to the second and third toes. Now the yang energy of the stomach changes to yin in the spleen meridian, here on the medial big toe, running up the inner arch of the foot, the inner ankle here across the ankle bone, through the inner ankle and calf, to the inner knee at the meniscus, up the inner thigh, almost on the front, to the hip joint here where you'll feel the pulse of the femoral artery. And then it rises a little further up, further out up the abdomen here, outside the breast, almost to the top of the chest, and then turns back down and ends here at a point on the side of the rib cage under the armpit. Now the yin energy of the spleen plunges deep into the chest, into the heart itself, inside the heart organ. The heart meridian emerges from deep in the armpits. It then runs down the innermost arm here, inner biceps, to the inner corner of the elbow, the innermost forearm, to the wrist, and down through the palm to the middle, the lateral part of the little finger. It then runs switches. Then the yin energy of the heart turns into yang energy of the small intestine here on the medial part of the little finger. It runs up the little finger, the back of the hand, the back of the wrist, forearm, here on the funny bone, up the triceps, to the back of the shoulder, above the armpit, across the shoulder blade, and up into the sides of the neck, cheek, and ends in front of the ear. The yang energy of the small intestine then goes through the face into the inner corner of the eye where the bladder meridian begins. The bladder meridians run up to the corners of the eyebrows here, up over the top of the head, to the base of the skull, down the back of the neck, down the sides of the spine, all the way to the sacrum, through the gluteal muscles, down to the sit bones, then down the back of the hamstrings, the back of the knee, down the back of the calf, to the Achilles, outside of the ankle bone here, down the outer foot, into the little toe. The yang energy of the bladder meridian now turns to yin energy in the sole of the foot at kidney 1 on the kidney meridian. The kidney meridian runs up behind the inner ankle bone, along the innermost calf, to the inner knee, the innermost thigh, up to the pubic bone and pelvic floor. It runs very narrow up the abdomen along the sides of the navel, all the way up along the sides of the sternum, up to the collarbones. The kidney meridian energy then plunges deep within the chest, staying yin, into the pericardium, surrounding the heart. This energy emerges on the pec major here, outside the breast. It runs down the middle of the biceps to the very center of the elbow crease, down the forearm to the center of the wrist crease, the very center of the palm, and down into the middle finger. The yin energy of the pericardium then turns yang on the ring finger. This is the triple warmer meridian. The triple warmer yang energy runs up the back of the hand, back of the wrist, the outer elbow, back of the arm, over the top of the shoulder, and up around the ear to the outer corner of the eyebrow. The yang energy stays yang, drops to the outer corner of the eye where the gallbladder meridian begins. The gallbladder meridian zigzags, running up over the ear to the base of the skull, and then back up over to the forehead, back down to the base of the skull again to the tops of the shoulders. It then follows under the armpit, to the front of the rib cage, to the lower back, to the side of the hip here, TFO, and then down the IT band, down the outer shin, across the outer ankle, into the fourth toe. The yang energy of the gallbladder then turns yin and jumps to the big toe, the lateral big toe, where the liver meridian begins. This meridian runs up the top of the foot, across the inner ankle bone, and up the inner shin bone here, the inner knee again, the inner thigh, through the hip joints, up the abdomen, to a point on the rib cage below the breast, just on top of the liver. The energy then runs back, joining in the solar plexus, to complete the circuit. Namaste.